Okay, so here we go. This is something very different I'm going to talk about. I've never talked about crypto on YouTube before. I want to now, because this might be of some use to some people. If it isn't of any use to you, then I apologise for that. If it isn't any interest to you, then move on. But I wanted to try and maybe clarify a few things for some people. When I first got interested in crypto, what I found is that a lot of the information was very confusing. In fact, no, it wasn't confusing, it's confused is probably a more accurate thing to say. It misportrays what you really need to know, uses bad analogies, the terminology is often unhelpful, and it's not explained to you what is really going on rather than the sort of names that are given to things. And you either have a very homespun perspective which is inaccurate and leads to more questions than it answers, or you have to go into much more technical depth about the whole business of public-private key cryptography and have a sort of more technical analysis of it, and then you have to sort of rewire that back to the homespun, more day-to-day explanations and try and work it all out for yourself, which is very unhelpful. So what I wanted to do, one thing, I don't regard myself as like a great technical guy or any great intellect, but I think I've always on my YouTube videos been quite good at analogies, and as time has gone on and my sort of understanding has increased, there's sort of two analogies that I've had in my brain for the whole business of blockchain and sort of how you use it and what a public versus a private key is and what a hot wallet and a cold wallet is and what it really means and the difference, and just some analogies that answer some of those questions and maybe give a better perspective. And I hope that by just going through that in this video, that it might help some people to understand those things a little bit better. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then we'll take it from there. So I think the first concern that I have is these labels hot wallet and cold wallet. What they refer to is this idea that you keep your crypto in a wallet. And a hot wallet is either a program that you have on your computer, or it might be an app that you have on your phone, or it could be a browser extension that you have on your computer. Okay. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to sign transactions, to effectively send money out of that wallet. Your crypto is in that wallet, and you can send the crypto somewhere else. Okay. The problem is that they aren't wallets, right? This is a wallet here. This is my wallet, and my wallet has, actually it's mainly just pieces of paper and crap, but it has the actual money there. Look, there's some sterling there. The money is actually in the wallet, okay? And if I lose that wallet, I lose the money. If I drop the wallet down the drain, the money is gone because the money is in the wallet. A crypto wallet isn't a wallet. A crypto wallet doesn't have the money within it. It's more an interrogation device to go to the blockchain and say, hey, at this public key, at this address, what's in there? And it also has the ability, which we'll come to later, to sign off on a transaction, to be able to say, yeah, I'd like to send some money from this account, if you like, to another account. So in that respect, a crypto wallet, or at least a hot wallet, is actually, it's not a wallet, it's like a banking app. So if you think about that, if you think about it, let's analogize it in terms of traditional banking. Your hot wallet that you might have on your phone for some crypto is like a banking app. So when you open it up, okay, it will tell you how much crypto you've got, but the crypto isn't stored on your phone. It's there as a ledger entry on a blockchain, and all that app is doing is it's saying, hey, at this address, at this account, okay, because these are public blockchains, anybody can see the data that's on them, at this address, how much is there? And then it reports it to you. So if you lose that wallet, you haven't lost it. As long as you keep your seed phrase, you could create as many copies, instances of or instantiations of that wallet as you like, and still carry on the same way. It's not actually on your device. And that, I think, is one of the first misunderstandings that people have. So they sort of think it's a bit like the grandmother who doesn't want the banking app on her phone, because she's like, well, what if I lose my phone? I'm going to lose all the money in my account. Okay. So another way in which you can analogize it, I think, to banking is with this public and private key, which is that your public key is very much like your bank account number and your sort code. In that your bank account number and your sort code effectively allows somebody to pay money in, but it doesn't allow you to take it out. So in some ways you can pretty much give it, with sort of one caveat, you can dish it out to whoever you like. And a public key is very much the same for crypto, with the same caveat. The caveat in each case is that if the mafia or a bad actor dusts your bank account or your crypto wallet with something that's come from dubious means, you might end up find you answering some questions. But again, that just shows you how good the analogy is there. So really, your public key is like your bank account number and your sort code. Okay, you can give that out and people can pay in, but they can't take out. Your private key is like your bank card coupled with another identity document, maybe your driving license, and a utility bill. Okay, and they're analogous in two ways. They're analogous first because those are the things that allow you to take things out of your account. You can pay in with just the public key. You can pay in with just the bank account number and sort code, but you need that extra amount of documentation to be able to take out. And the second thing is, just as in crypto, you can use your private key to recreate your public key, but you can't go the other way around. So it is here. If you go into your bank with your bank card and a utilities bill and all this lot, you can say to them, this is who I am. I've forgotten what my bank account number or my sort code are and where my accounts are with you. And they'll give you that detail. You can recreate them if you like. You can take ownership of them again. But you can't go the other way round. If you go into a bank and say, I've got this bank account number and sort code, I need to know the name on the account and the address of the holder and maybe have a photocopy of the driving license, etc. They're not going to give you that, right? It doesn't work that way round. So then we come on to the wallets themselves. And like I say, I take a real issue with these because it's so badly named. They're not a wallet. They're just like they're like an app for interrogating what is on the blockchain and for signing transactions. And the other problem is that hot wallets and cold wallets are really not the same thing. A hot wallet can function on its own, but it's not as safe, whereas a cold wallet is it's just half of what that hot wallet is. To try and explain that, I want to conjure up another analogy for you. So if you have some sort of slightly hazy understanding of what's going on here, maybe this will help, I think. So imagine this. We're all familiar with jokes of the form, I don't know, what do you get if you cross a maggot with a piece of cardboard? Right. And there's a punchline that follows, isn't there? And I don't know, you try and work out the punchline to that one. I just made that one up. So I don't know what the punchline is. Maybe there isn't one. I'm sure somebody's clever enough. There's some comedian clever enough to come up with something. But with those kind of jokes, it's very difficult to go from the joke to the punchline. But once you've heard the punchline, it's much easier to work the other way back. If you know the punchline, it suddenly becomes obvious, doesn't it? If somebody gives you that joke and that punchline, it's pretty obvious. Yeah, that's clever, that is. I've got that. Right. And cryptography uses this kind of public-private key cryptography with blockchains, uses this feature of a certain kind of maths that's very easy to go in one direction, but incredibly, almost impossibly difficult to go back the other way. So effectively what you end up with is a problem to be solved, and you're needing to find this answer. If you've got the answer, this is the way proof of work works on Bitcoin, but it's the same kind of principle, if you like, for transactions, but to an even higher level of difficulty. If you've got the answer, it's very easy to work it the other way back. It's easy to get that answer and go, of course that was the answer. It's like looking at the numbers to some lottery draw. It's like you've got, you put your money on there hoping to win, you don't win. When you see the numbers, it's like, they're just normal number. Anybody could have picked those kinds of thing. That's what it's like. So imagine that with the joke, right? You've got a joke. The joke is the transaction that you want to send. I want to send this much crypto from this address to this address. And the punchline to the joke is what you need to send. Okay, alongside that to show who you are. Now, how do you manage to do that? Well, how do you manage to find the punchline to a joke? You need a comedian. And in this case, what you need is a very special comedian. A kind of comedian that's, well, maybe pretty narrow focused, but just amazing at what they do. So, I don't know, what was the joke that I gave? Crossing a maggot with a bit of cardboard. So if my public key is maggot, right, what I need, my private key is effectively, think of it as like the comedian that is amazing. It's a very narrowly focused comedian, but amazing at jokes that always start, what do you get if you cross a maggot with? Any joke that starts like that, it doesn't matter what you try and cross the maggot with, this comedian will give you the punchline, quick as you like, to that joke. No other comedian can do that, okay? There are other very specialist comedians out there, but not in terms of jokes that begin what you cross a maggot with. So here's the thing then. So what happens is, when I want to sign a transaction from my crypto maggot public key account, what happens is that I go to the blockchain and I say, hey, I want to send this transaction. I want to send this joke. Okay, what do I get when I cross a maggot with a so-and-so? Oh, and by the way, this is the punchline to the joke. And the blockchain looks at what I've sent and says, well, that's the joke. Okay, there's the punchline. Obviously, that's the punchline. That makes now I see the punchline. Obviously, that works for that joke. You must have that comedian that's brilliant about jokes that start, what do you get if you cross a maggot with? You must have the comedian, ergo, you have the rights for us to process that transaction, and so the transaction takes place. So that's what your private key is effectively. Your public key is like a part of the joke, the transactions that you'll send, and the private key is this very specialist comedian who can always work out what the punchline is. And all the blockchain has to do is to rework that punchline, compare the punchline with a joke, see that, yeah, now it's obvious that's what the punchline was, and that shows who you are. Now, what a hot wallet is. The hot wallet is effectively a piece of software on your computer or your phone that can have a look at your public key and see what you've got. But it also includes the comedian. The comedian is on your phone. The comedian is on your computer. Okay, so when you want to send some crypto from your hot wallet, you authorize it to do so. And what it does is it sends a little package. It says, okay, send this much crypto from this address to some other address, which is the joke. And let's work out the punchline to the joke. Yep, sends that off. There's the punchline to the joke, and the transaction takes place. All very nice and clean. The problem is that the comedian is on your computer. Okay, it's encrypted, it should be kept safe, but computers can be hacked. Programs can trick you into installing an update that manages to unencrypt it and then steals it, etc. There is a danger. Your comedian is connected to the internet, okay? So your comedian is never entirely safe. A cold wallet, and I have one here, is effectively, well, it's not a wallet, as I've explained, because crypto wallets aren't wallets. They're sort of banking apps, but it's not even as much as what a hot wallet is, because one of these cold wallets, a cold hardware wallet, is just the comedian. It's just a comedian. You imagine that here's the device. It's an electronic device. We can switch it on and then we can put the details in. Okay. But you imagine the comedian's in a little cage there, and there's only a little entry there. You can't get the comedian out of there, right? The gap's too big. The comedian's too big to fit through there. Effectively, that's how the electronics are run. It's done in such a way that there's no way of sending the comedian out the pipe. Okay, all the comedian can do is post the punchlines. Okay, so what happens is you can't use a cold wallet without a hot wallet. So you set up the transaction on your hot wallet and then you connect your cold wallet to your device. It could be via Bluetooth to your phone, or it could be via a USB cable. And then when you're ready to send the transaction, your hot wallet contacts your cold wallet and says, hey, for this public key which you purport to have the comedian for, okay, we want to send this transaction. This joke? What's the punchline to this joke? And the device puts a little bit on the screen and it says, hey, somebody's asking for a punchline for a joke. Do you want me to tell them what the punchline is? And you tell them yes. And then it sends the punchline off the device. But the beauty of it is the comedian never leaves the device. The only thing that ever comes off the device is the punchline. So there is no way on God's earth that anybody can get the comedian out of here onto your computer and then down through the internet to steal your comedian. That's how it works. So maybe that clarifies things a bit. Talking about all these wallets, hot wallets, cold wallets as wallets, they're not. A hot wallet is like a banking app, and a cold wallet is like a sort of authorization device for a banking app, is effectively what they are. Okay? Again, if you lose this, if I smash this with a hammer, I've smashed up my comedian, which is not a good thing. But if I have the seed phrase which was used when I created that public key, the seed phrase is the private key, effectively. It is the comedian. So I can buy another device like this or a different device that works to the same, I think it's BIP39 standard, and I can recreate magically my little comedian again, and that comedian will be able to answer the same kind of jokes as it could answer on that device. Okay, I hope that's been maybe enlightening for at least somebody. If it's been enlightening, if somebody's found that of use, then as I said, when I first came across this, I found it so confusing because people talk about wallets. Your crypto's in your wallet. You keep your crypto in your wallet. No, you don't keep crypto in a wallet. The crypto is stored as a ledger entry on a blockchain. It's not in your wallet at all. And this kind of talk is like really misleading. It's really unhelpful. And it means you have to do a lot of investigation before you actually start to really understand what's going on there. So hopefully this has been of help for somebody. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye for now.